Have you ever stopped to think that some of the things you've done for years, maybe even decades, might be quietly holding you back now? As we get older, it's not just about adding new routines. Sometimes the real transformation comes from letting go of habits that once served us, but now do more harm than good. Today, we're diving into 6 everyday behaviors that many people over 70 fall into, often without realizing it. And the good news? Releasing them can lead to a more vibrant, independent, and joyful life. If you're ready to take small but meaningful steps toward better health and peace of mind, this one's for you. Let's begin. When Gilbert turned 82, he figured it was time to take it easy. After all, he'd spent decades working on his feet, raising a family, mowing his own lawn, and fixing just about everything around the house. He'd earned the right to slow down, so he did. At first, it felt good. No more early mornings or heavy lifting. Just quiet days. Reading the paper, watching old westerns, and going for the occasional walk around the block. But over time, things began to shift. Getting up from the recliner took more effort. The stairs started to feel like a mountain. One day, while reaching for a can of soup on the top shelf, he lost his balance and nearly fell. That moment scared him. He hadn't been in an accident, but something clicked. Gilbert realized that by slowing down too much, he was losing more than just muscle. He was losing his freedom. It's a common pattern many seniors fall into, often with the best intentions. When joints ache and balance feels shaky, resting more seems like the smart thing to do. But the truth is, avoiding strength building movement is one of the fastest ways to lose independence. Muscle loss after 70 is real, and it's called sarcopenia. It's not just about getting weaker, it's about losing the ability to do the everyday things that make life manageable. Lifting groceries, getting out of bed, carrying laundry, or even catching your balance when you trip, these all require muscle. And here's the thing. You don't need a gym membership or fancy equipment to fight it, or it once. According to sites, Gilbert decided he wanted to take action. His doctor recommended he see a physical therapist. He was nervous at first. He imagined being pushed into workouts that would hurt his knees or strain his back. But that couldn't have been further from the truth. His therapist started him off with just 5 minutes a day. Simple movements, like standing up from a chair without using his hands, holding onto the kitchen counter while standing on one foot to improve balance, lifting light weights, sometimes just soup cans to build strength in his arms and shoulders. And it worked. After 2 months, Gilbert could feel the difference. His legs were stronger. He felt steadier on his feet. Even his posture improved. But what really changed was how he felt about himself. He no longer feared taking a walk alone or going up the stairs. He felt capable again. That's the real gift of strength. It's not about looking like an athlete or lifting heavy weights. It's about maintaining the power to live life on your terms. It's the difference between relying on others and standing tall with confidence. The mistake many people make is thinking movement equals risk. But the bigger risk is doing nothing at all. Inactivity causes more damage than most realize, not just to your muscles, but to your energy, your mood, even your sense of identity. It's never too late to start. Whether it's light, stretching, in the morning, body weight exercises in your living room, or using a resistance band while you watch TV, it all adds up. Consistency is what counts. So if you've been telling yourself, I'm just too old to exercise, take a page from Gilbert's story. You're not too old. You're just one small step away from feeling stronger, more balanced, and more in control than you have in years. Start small, stay consistent. Your body and your spirit will thank you. Scarlett had always been a 3 square meals a day kind of woman. Breakfast with eggs and toast, a hearty lunch and dinner with meat, potatoes, and maybe a slice of pie if it was the weekend. It was how she ate in her 40s, and it worked just fine back then, but now at 75, something didn't feel quite right. She wasn't doing anything differently, at least not that she noticed, but she started feeling bloated after meals. Her clothes began to fit a little tighter around the waist, and worst of all, her energy would dip in the afternoon, leaving her feeling sluggish and foggy. For the longest time, she chalked it up to aging. That's just what happens when you get older, she'd say. But one day, at her annual checkup, her doctor gently brought up her blood sugar. It was creeping up, nothing dangerous yet, but a sign that something needed to change. Scarlett wasn't thrilled about the idea of changing her diet. She wasn't on a mission to lose weight, and she definitely didn't want to give, but what the doctor said stuck with her. It's not about eating less, it's about eating smarter. And that's the key. Many people over 70 fall into the trap of eating the way they always have. The same portion sizes, the same meal. Times the same comfort foods, passed down from habit or family tradition. But what worked for our bodies in our 40s doesn't always serve us the same way in our 70s. Your metabolism slows down. Your digestion might not be as smooth, and your body simply has different nutritional needs. Scarlett decided to give it a shot. Not a diet, just a few thoughtful changes. She started eating smaller portions at dinner, swapping out heavy starches for roasted veggies or a fresh salad. She still enjoyed her morning toast, but now with avocado instead of butter. For snacks, she began reaching for almonds and blueberries instead of crackers, and she paid attention not just to what she ate, but how she felt afterward. And the results? Subtle, but powerful. Within a few weeks, she wasn't feeling bloated anymore. Her energy started to even out, no more afternoon crashes. She slept better, her mood lifted, and even her skin had a healthy glow she hadn't seen in years. It turns out, our bodies speak to us. We just need to listen. After 70, every meal matters more. You might not need as many calories, but the quality of your food becomes more important than ever. You need nutrient-dense, easy-to-digest foods that support your muscles, bones, brain, and immune system. This means more fiber-rich vegetables, lean proteins like fish or chicken, healthy fats from nuts and olive oil, and fruits that hydrate and energize. It doesn't mean cutting out all your favorite dishes, but it does mean finding balance and making smart swaps that support your well-being. And most importantly, it's not about deprivation, it's about nourishment. Like Scarlett, you don't have to give up the joy of food. In fact, she still enjoys pie now and then, but now it's a slice shared with her granddaughter after a walk around the neighborhood. Not something she eats just out of routine. So ask yourself, are you still eating like it's 1995? Maybe it's time to check in with what your body needs today. Because when you fuel your body, right, everything else, your energy, your mood, even your confidence starts to feel better too. And that's something worth savoring. After her husband passed away, Sylvia slowly began to pull away from the world. At first, it was just little things declining. Lunch invites, skipping Sunday church, and ignoring calls from her book club friends. She told herself she needed time to grieve, and she did. But weeks turned into months, and soon she found herself spending whole days without talking to anyone. Her cozy home, once full of conversation and laughter, became quiet. Too quiet. Sylvia didn't feel lonely. Exactly. She enjoyed her crossword puzzles, warm tea, and her favorite TV shows, but deep down, something was missing, though she couldn't quite name it. She felt sluggish, unmotivated. Some days blurred together like fog on a window. She started forgetting simple things, and even her sleep wasn't what it used to be. Then one afternoon, her daughter stopped by with a suggestion. "Mom," she said gently, "why don't you try that senior yoga class at the community center? You don't have to do the poses if you don't want to just go and be around people." Sylvia was skeptical. "I'm not a yoga person," she said. But the following week, she went just to watch. And something surprising happened. It wasn't the yoga that made her want to come back. It was the people. The cheerful chatter before class. The way folks laughed about forgetting a move, or wobbling during a pose, the hugs. The conversations afterward where someone would ask, "What are you up to this weekend?" And actually mean it. That simple hour a week gave her something she hadn't realized she needed: connection. As we get older, it's all too easy to shrink our social circles without even noticing. Maybe friends have moved away. Maybe mobility has changed. Maybe we just feel like we don't have much to contribute anymore. But here's the truth. Your presence still matters. And so do your stories, your wisdom, and your laughter. Social withdrawal doesn't always happen because we're unhappy. Sometimes it's just habit. It feels easier to stay home than to make plans. And when no one checks in as often as they used to, we quietly stop reaching out too. But isolation doesn't just affect the heart. It affects the brain, the immune system, and even longevity. Studies show that chronic loneliness can be as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's that serious. But the solution doesn't have to be big or scary. Staying connected doesn't mean going to parties or signing up for a packed calendar of events. It simply means being intentional. Reaching out to a friend, joining a hobby group, chatting with a neighbor, or even joining a virtual community if leaving the house feels tough. Sylvia now goes to yoga twice a week, not because she loves the poses, but because she's found her people. That class became the spark that lit up the rest of her week. She's smiling more, thinking more clearly, and even baking again. Something she hadn't done since her husband passed. She didn't realize how much she missed being seen and heard until she was. So if you found yourself slowly pulling away, ask yourself, is it comfort? Or is it quiet loneliness wearing a disguise? You still have so much to give, and the world still needs what you bring to the table. Your kindness, your humor, your lived experience. Whether it's over coffee, shared prayer, or just a friendly text connection heals. Don't wait for someone else to reach out. Be the one who makes the call. You never know whose day in life you might brighten, including your own. Walter had always been the tough guy in the family. At 78, he prided himself on his resilience. Raised during a time when you didn't complain, didn't make a fuss, and certainly didn't rush to the doctor for every little thing. Walter believed that unless something really hurt, it probably wasn't worth worrying about. So when he started noticing a slight fuzziness in his vision, he shrugged it off. Just getting older, he told himself. When his feet tingled a little in the evenings, he figured it was from being on them too long. And when he found himself more tired in the afternoon than usual, well, that's just part of aging, right? But his daughter Megan saw it differently. "Dad," she said one evening, "I know you don't like going to the doctor, but something's not right. You've been forgetting things more than usual. You told me you skipped breakfast, but your cereal bowl was still in the sink. Let's just get things checked." Reluctantly, Walter agreed to a visit. What they found surprised him: early-stage type 2 diabetes and mild diabetic neuropathy. Thankfully, they'd caught it early. His doctor assured him that with some adjustments to his diet and daily routine, he could manage it well. But the real shock for Walter wasn't the diagnosis. It was realizing how long he'd been brushing off the warning signs. He'd been waiting for pain or a major event to signal that something was wrong. But many serious conditions, especially as we age, start quietly. That's what makes this habit so dangerous. Small symptoms like dizziness, swelling in the ankles, blurred vision, sudden fatigue, or brain fog are easy to dismiss. They don't scream for attention. They whisper. And if we're not listening, we miss the chance to act early. As we get older, our bodies communicate more, not less. They just speak in subtler ways. But somewhere along the line, many older adults get used to minimizing discomfort. They don't want to be seen as complainers. They don't want to worry their families. And frankly, after years of dealing with this and that, they just feel worn out from doctor visits. But here's the truth. Checking in early is a form of self-respect. It's not giving in. It's taking control. Walter learned that quickly after changing up his meals, adding a short daily walk, and checking his blood sugar levels regularly. He felt better than he had in months. His energy came back. The tingling in his feet eased. Most of all, he felt empowered, like he had a say in his own health again. It's important to remember not every health issue hits like a hammer. Some creep in like a shadow. That's why the earlier you notice and respond, the more options you have. Fewer medications, simpler treatments, less stress. And if you ever feel like your doctor isn't listening to you, speak up. Ask questions. Get a second opinion. You've lived long enough to know your own body better than anyone. Your concerns are valid. Your voice matters. So if something feels off, don't brush it off. Don't wait for it to get worse. Don't tell yourself it's just part of growing older. Because while aging is natural, suffering in silence doesn't have to be. You've spent a lifetime looking out for others. Now's the time to look out for yourself. Because when you catch the little things early, you give yourself a better shot at enjoying the big things. Later, more walks, more birthdays, more time with the people you love. And that's worth listening to. Bill had always been the family memory keeper. Birthdays, anniversaries, doctor's appointments. He remembered them all without a calendar. For most of his life, he didn't need sticky notes, alarms, or to-do lists. Everything lived right up there in his head, neat and organized. And for decades, it worked like a charm. But somewhere around his 70s, small things started to slip. He'd walk into the kitchen and forget why. Missed a dental cleaning because he thought it was the following week. The real wake-up call came when he accidentally took his morning medication twice, within an hour of each other. Nothing serious happened, thankfully, but it scared him. For the first time in his life, Bill felt unsure about something he had always trusted his own memory. And it didn't feel like just getting older. It felt like losing part of what made him him. At first he resisted. He didn't want to write everything down or set reminders like he was some forgetful old man. But after talking with his doctor and his daughter, he realized that using tools to help his memory wasn't a sign of weakness. It was smart, responsible, and frankly a relief. That's the heart of this habit. Trying to remember everything when your brain just doesn't work the way that it used to. And that's okay. You see, our minds are doing a lot, far more than we give them credit for. By the time we reach our 70s or 80s, we've stored decades of life, emotion, routines, faces, conversations, and wisdom. But the short-term stuff, that's the part that starts to flicker. Not because we're broken, but because our mental bandwidth is simply fuller than ever before. So here's the shift. Instead of fighting that reality, work with it. Whereas Bill started small. A notebook on the kitchen counter, where he jotted down appointments and to-dos. A pill organizer with days of the week. Clearly labeled alarms on his phone for morning and evening medications. a wall calendar with his grandkids' birthdays and upcoming events. And within days, he felt lighter. Not because his memory improved, but because he stopped relying on it for everything. He wasn't second-guessing himself. No more pacing the hallway, trying to remember what he'd forgotten. The mental clutter faded, and with it came a sense of calm. That's something many people don't talk about. The stress that comes from trying to remember everything. It builds quietly. And when you free yourself from that pressure, even just a little, it's like letting out a deep breath you didn't know you were holding. More importantly, it can prevent real harm. Missing a lunch date is one thing, but forgetting whether your Chichu took a medicamenteuse dose or she is or worse. Taking it twice can lead to serious health issues, especially with blood pressure meds, insulin, or painkillers. Using reminders doesn't mean you're slipping, it means you're adapting. Think about it this way. We use bookmarks to keep our place in a book GPS, to help us find directions, labels on jars, so we don't mix up sugar and salt. Why wouldn't we do the same for our memories? You are not losing it. You're just learning to work smarter with the brain you've got, and that's something to be proud of. So if you've been brushing off those small forgetful moments, give yourself permission to make things easier. Whether it's a sticky note, a checklist, a reminder app, or a family calendar, use the tools. Your memory has served you well for decades. Now it deserves a little backup because the goal isn't to remember everything. The goal is to live with peace of mind, and that starts with knowing you've got a system in place that's got your back. Louise was 79 when she decided that technology just wasn't for her. I've lived this long without it, she'd say with a smile. Why start now? She had a cell phone but only used it for calls. No texts, no apps, no internet. If she needed to know the weather, she looked outside. If she needed to remember an appointment, she'd scribble it on a scrap of paper. And when it came to medication, refills, or doctor updates, she'd call her daughter, who always helped out without complaint. But deep down, Louise didn't like feeling so dependent. She hated having to ask for help every time she misplaced a note or forgot an appointment. Still, the idea of using a smartphone or trying out apps made her nervous. What if she tapped the wrong thing? What if she deleted something important? What if she just couldn't figure it out? Then one afternoon, her grandson Ethan sat next to her on the couch and said, "Grandma, want me to show you something cool on your phone?" At first, she resisted, but Ethan was patient. He showed her how to open the calendar app and set a reminder for her doctor visit. Then he walked her through how to check the weather forecast and even taught her how to use voice commands so she didn't have to type. It wasn't perfect. She made mistakes, got frustrated, but little by little she started getting the hang of it. And the moment that changed everything, she refilled a prescription all by herself with just a few taps. Louise sat back in her chair, stunned. "I didn't need to call anyone," she whispered, and for the first time in a long time, she didn't just feel older, she felt capable. Here's the truth. Avoiding technology entirely is one of the most limiting habits people over 70 can fall into. Not because you're expected to become a tech whiz or open a TikTok account, but because technology, when used thoughtfully, can make life easier, safer, and more connected. You don't have to dive into the deep end. It starts with small, simple things. Setting a reminder for medication, using a weather app, instead of waiting for the news, sending a photo to a loved one, getting a video call from your grandkids who live across the country. These aren't just conveniences. They're lifelines, tools that support independence and reduce reliance on others. What many older adults don't realize is that technology isn't for young people. It's for everyone. And learning it doesn't mean you failed to keep up. It means you're open to growing, and that's something to be proud of at any age. Louise now uses her phone every day. She checks her schedule, plays relaxing music, joins a Zoom Bible study with friends, and even video chats with her great-granddaughter every Sunday. She doesn't understand everything. She still asks Ethan questions now and then, but she's no longer afraid. And that fear being replaced by confidence, that's the real gift. If you've been telling yourself, I'm too old for all that, try replacing it with, maybe I can learn one thing. Start with that one simple thing. Then build from there. You don't need to master it. You just need to be open to trying, because when you do, you're not just learning how to use a phone or a tablet. You're reclaiming your power to stay connected, stay informed, and stay in control. And that at any age is worth it. So which of these habits do you recognize in yourself? The truth is, aging doesn't mean giving up. It means leveling up, using all the wisdom you've earned to shape a life that feels lighter, freer, and more aligned with who you are. Now let go of what no longer serves you. Step forward into what uplifts you. You've still got so much living to do, and these small shifts could make all the difference. If this video helped you, give it a like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Let's grow stronger together.